Hey y'all, welcome back. Again, we on day three, combo number two. So if you're just tuning in for the first time, we always like to make sure we thank Live Nation Urban right at the top. They have just continued to support us over the last 3 years. We've sent dozens of Black and African women creatives across the country for stuff like tours and concerts and festivals. And we'll be announcing some exciting news at the end of the month because you already know it's Black Music Month and that's why we're here. So just stay tuned, follow us on everything. But for now, let's get into this conversation. Today we have an incredible guest with us, Victoria Farr. Brr, 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 brr. Hey, hey, hey. How you doing today, Victoria?
Great. How are you?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'd love if you can give us a quick little intro. Could you tell the people the type of photography you do, where you're based?
Okay. I'm Victoria Ford. I also shoot under Sneakshot. That's like a tongue twister to say. I'm based in Washington, D.C. I'm a native Washingtonian, never lived anyplace else.
Yeah,
My music photography is my niche. Also wrestling, but we'll get into wrestling later. But
we're
I'm
gonna.
based in music, and that's where I kind of live.
Okay, beautiful. I'm wondering off the top, but who's your favorite artist that you photograph?
Oh, see, that's
We
a
gotta
hard.
pick favorites sometimes.
I know, but my I love so many different genres, so it's kind of hard just to pinpoint one. But all right, if I have to say, in the past few years, my favorite
Hmm.
photograph was Miguel. I,
Oh, yes. So were you in the pit for Miguel or were you working with Miguel and can go like
well,
on a stage kind of thing?
Pitt early on though, I knew his musical director who was in a group itself called Jay Davy. Um,
Hmm.
so I got able to get to a few places, but it's nothing like seeing capturing Miguel live. Like backstage is cool, but live is just he just shines so well, and he's
He's
all he's I'm sorry, he's just mm,
he's a
chef's kiss.
beautiful man also. A great performer, beautiful man, beautiful voice.
But his lighting is always amazing. Even from the very first time I photographed him when he opened up for Mary J. Blige.
Ooh.
Always a thing. So good.
Speaking of which, in case y'all don't know, we love to pull up websites, Instagram, so y'all can see the work while we're talking. So I heard you say Mary, so I'm gonna just go ahead, pull up the website because I know you photographed Mary. Can you talk about how you gain access to music venues or festivals? And also, could you talk about the comparison? So like maybe when you first started versus how you gain access now.
Um, it's kind of been the same. I'll start with when I first started. Um, my story is a little different than most. I worked with a local concert promoter and I realized I had access because they were like, "Oh, you can do what you want." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I can. Oh, I can. Okay, great." But that also build relationships with some of the artists as well as, their managers or PR teams and stuff like that. And then I tried to let my work speak for itself. But the funny thing is, looking back, I started photography in like 2007. So looking
Mhm.
back from 2007 to 2011, I didn't take it seriously. It was just like, oh, this is cool. I have access. I'll do something fun. But
Right.
2011, I was in a group photo show called Document the Fresh, and
Mm.
I did a really, 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 really good job with that. Had a great turnout, and it inspired me to, you know what, maybe I should take this a little bit more seriously. So started building those things. I also was a big Roots fan.
Hey,
Um, big Roots fan since like
and you in the DMV too, you right there. That makes sense.
yep. And so I would I was on their street team. I got to meet some of the people that were running the site. I got on their and they eventually saw my work progress. And so that helped a lot as well.
Okay, that's a really cool idea too. So the reason why I asked is because we want to like learn the people that we could be talking to for the music photographers that are trying to figure out how to like just get in, like find that access. And so we love to name names like, okay, you should be looking for media coordinators, the PR person. So I love that you mentioned street teaming because no one has mentioned that yet. Where it's like, this is kind of adjacent, but if you can get in somehow,
Right.
boom, now you're shooting the shows regularly.
But now, yeah, I mean,
Right.
street sometimes, you got to be out there anyway. So why not ask if you can come in and do some extra, some shots or some video or both? Capture.
Right. Can you talk about how, whether you juggle it now or previously, like how you can juggle 9 to 5 or even school and being a full-time photographer?
Well, funny you should say that because I'm currently on a shoot now, taking you
Right.
away.
We got
But
working photographers on set right now. Like, come on.
so I do have a 9 to 5, but my 9 to 5, I work at a music venue. So I kind of place myself with the music. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. You created an ecosystem for yourself.
I am actually. So it's easier because I feel like for me, my job's a bit flexible.
Mm.
They do understand what I'm doing, but I also understand that my job is part of a business. So, but it's all about scheduling and timing and flexibility. So, could I do everything I wanted to do? No, not everything, but I do manage to get a good wrangle on, a lot, as you
Yeah.
clearly can see.
Right, exactly. Also, I'm wondering, since you work for the music venue, one, I guess, do you also tend to shoot some shows that are happening there? And then two, does that mean your working schedule is frequently during the evening, like your photography schedule would be?
No, so transparent. I'm a box office manager at a
Okay.
venue here. So, but before that, I was on the street, I'm not the street team, the photography team. So I was one of the in-house photographers. So it kind
Right.
of balances. But some nights, let's say we have a show. So recently, I was box office managing for the Janelle Monáe Grace Jones show that just happened here like a couple of weeks ago.
Oh my
So
God.
running the box office and also running inside to catch some shots. So that's basically how my life is. The ebb and flow of just constantly running back and forth. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't change it.
Yeah, that sounds like a perfect, like I said, ecosystem. That sounds like a perfect vibe. So then you're used to being around artists. Like obviously you shoot them all the time. Do you have any tips for people that might feel like nervousness or a little jittery when they're about to shoot an artist that they really admire?
Yes, I still feel nervous and jittery every time I photograph someone that I admire. Or me personally, I do a little prayer. I was like, let's say a little prayer here before before we step into this pit. Ask God to guide our hands and the ancestors to keep us well. Um,
Okay.
that's me. And I feel like I'm not a religious person, I'm more of a spiritual person, but if someone else is a religious person or spiritual, start that off with a little prayer. And then tell yourself you got this. I got this. I'm gonna rock this.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Thank you. I think a lot about the people that because I mean I still get nervous before basically every shoot that I have. And I've also been doing it for a long time. But I think a lot about the people that might be equating that to confidence, where it's like, oh, like I wish I could be more confident as I'm moving around, but I'm so nervous. Like this person is like, I admire them so much. So I'm wondering, do you have ways that you can, or tips that you navigate when you actually have to interact with the artist? So not just from the pit, if you're actually shooting them like one-on-one, or you can get like backstage access. Like what are some things, if not just prayer, to keep people calm and just like steady?
Um, it also depends on the artist and what's going on.
Mm,
Um, you got to keep a level head and remember they go to the bathroom just like you do. They have good days and bad days, just like you. And if you're just polite, kind, sometimes they may not be, but you just got to work through it. You know what? I want these shots. Let me work through it. That's
yeah.
what I had an interaction couple of Essence festivals back, and I was doing the photo booth, and
Hmm.
the lead photographer left me back there. He was like, "Yeah, you're fine." He's like, "Just capture anybody you think would work." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I'm just back there minding my business, and actually Mary J. Blige rolls up, and I'm like, "Oh, it's Auntie." Not really Auntie because she's almost my peer. Oh, there's a picture of Mary that I love right there. Not that one, but anyway. Go up from my shoes. That
Oh,
one. That one's probably my
Love
favorite.
this shot. That's an incredible shot.
But I had to go up to her and ask her, could she come over to
Hmm.
now one, you never know what you're gonna get. Two, for a second, I second guessed myself. I was like, nah, I'm okay. But I was like, nah, they really would want this shot. So I was
Right.
kind of, she was talking. I went over, I politely introduced myself and asked her if she wouldn't mind stepping over here for me to grab this picture of her real quick. I was like, it'd be really, really quick. And she did. She obliged
That's
me.
incredible. You know, something that happens to me that I'm trying to work on is I notice that my voice gets softer, like almost like customer service voice, where I'm like, oh my God, excuse me, can I please? And I want to change that just so that I can present as confident as I feel like my work presents. But I think it is good to just remember, I love your framework, that I want to get the shot that I know they will love. Like ultimately, this shot not about me. I know the shot that I'm getting is really for everyone else to love. So of course I want to get the best shot.
Right. And the customer service voice is not saying you don't have confidence. It's the politeness that's coming out because you're like, I don't want to offend you. You don't want the tone to offend me.
Right.
So you go, I go to the Tevin Campbell zone. Excuse me.
Okay, we get real high. That's so real. But okay, so you already mentioned, or no, I'm sorry, you didn't mention it. What I was thinking when I was going through your Instagram was some of these wide shots. You know what? I'll pull it back up. I'm loving some of these wides you have at the top, like these. Oh
I'm
my
gonna,
God.
okay, so those two are that one. That's my iPhone. I wasn't even shooting that show. I was
Oh my God, that's gorgeous.
so every shot in this one is just the phone.
You killed that. That's incredible. So let's talk about gear. And I love the fact that you mentioned iPhones too. Can you talk about whether if you're shooting on an iPhone, how about this? If you're shooting on an iPhone, what settings are you using if you're adjusting anything? And then what's your kit when you are shooting in the pit or, for the venue for the artist?
Well, for the iPhone, I usually just I don't really let's see that one right there, which is regular photo, maybe zoomed in about th three times.
Mm-hmm.
I just do more after post. So it was cool the way it was, but I added more contrast. Like I don't do much with posts. I don't do anything super crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that was just darkening the contrast, maybe a little bit of brilliance, and still kept the grain. Really simple. But a lot of times I use portrait. There may be a couple in there that I can show you.
In this
Um,
carousel?
Not in that case. All that was just regular, straight iPhone photo. But the go up, I think I did something recently, more towards the top. I'm so sorry to make you scroll through my. Okay, go back down to the A Marie one. So
Is this not
no,
an air?
actually that's my phone too. That
Okay.
I did that with just my phone.
Incredible. Where Anne Marie?
Right there,
This one?
right under Grace Jones. It says A Marie.
Oh.
Yes,
Oh, I was thinking this was a
you can
video.
pass that video. So
Okay.
that's just my phone. That's just on portrait mode.
That's incredible. Come on, using what we have. Yes.
And I tell people all the time, I'm like, just if you have it, use it.
Yeah.
Don't use your phone in the pit. They don't like that. Because
Also, this one. Oh, I love Grace Jones. So fabulous.
77 years old and still doing the thing.
77.
And she hula hoops.
This is so beautiful and inspiring. I saw Diana Ross, I think last year when she had just turned 80, and I was just so completely inspired because I was like, oh, right, like my dreams don't have to expire when I'm 80, when I'm 77, like Grace Jones. Like she's still doing it, super fabulous. And Grace Jones is clearly still moving and grooving. I'm like, yes, this is especially just seeing another Black woman do it like that. I'm like,
Isn't
remember.
I feel like our culture is the only one that tries to age out our grades.
Right?
Especially
Like, what's going on?
oh, that rapper's 54 years old. He need to go sit down. He need to retire. But Mick Jagger's like 38 million years old. Sorry, Mick.
Still doing it. But yeah,
You're the only one's like, oh, he too old to be. No, he's not.
No, this is literally his life's work. Of course, this is what he'll be doing.
Exactly. Now, as far as gear, when I'm shooting, I'm a Nikon girl.
Okay.
So I shoot with a D750, but more so with a Nikon Z6 II. And I usually either have a if I'm doing a smaller venue, I have a 24 to 70 2.8 or a 70 to 200 2.8.
Okay.
If I'm feeling froggy and I want to jump a little bit and I want something more tighter and close, I'll bring out my 80 to 400.
Okay, solid.
But if I'm in a large venue and I'm shooting from soundboard, I'll break out the 150 to 600.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, you're the first photographer for the summit that mentioned the 600. That's when you really need it. Yeah, from the soundboard is always quite far too.
It's like, here, stand back here. Way
Yeah,
back.
I
At
got a shot.
first, Mary ones were from soundboard.
Which those are incredible. I love the ones of Mary J. Blige for real. So can we talk a little bit more about the gear that you use? Do you have any extra accessories like maybe bags, belts, like things that keep you on the go so you don't have to, be so weighted down?
So I'm a weird one. So I'll use let's use the Roots Picnic since that was probably the more recent one.
Okay.
Usually when I'm traveling, I have a bigger camera bag, an in case one. My back is telling me get a roller bag, which probably will happen soon. My back's like, girl, no.
Right.
Um, but when I went to the actual festival, I had a smaller, it's a bag company called Encase, and they made this like sling bag. So I
Mhm.
take that and smaller gear. So I had the 24 to 70 and the 200 in the bag. And then I also bring this really large Nike, it's a fanny pack.
Mhm.
I use that. So when I'm moving around, I can just throw things in there that I need. Phone, charger, extra SD cards, flash. It even fits the big old lens, the 80 to 400 one. So
That
I
has
have
to be
it.
That's so useful. Yes. I love figuring out like the different tools and stuff people can use that maybe they didn't even know where they were aware of, or just, in the transition of like, I need something that fits a little better. Um,
Double cameraing it up, then I grab the Black Rabbit rapid harness because that
mhm,
that helps too.
true. That's the double harness, right?
Yeah, it balances the weight when you're just walking around with all this gear.
I haven't used that one yet, but I always thought that that one looks so official. I'm like, photographers with the double harness, they're doing their work today.
It balances, because you got your balance on your side, plus you don't have to keep changing your lenses. And then, some people now have a third one around their neck. I'm not doing that.
There
Not
you
yet.
go.
I just
Right.
hope the phone comes out.
Exactly. So I also noticed your editing style, it looks like you do use some effects. I noticed the collage. I thought the collages were really cool. And then the one on Mary J. Blige, it looks like there was some maybe overlays or something like that. What editing software do you use and rely on the most?
I'm a Lightroom girl, but when I go over and I'm doing something like the Mary J. Blige with the rip ones, I'll re-edit in Visco,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll take it over to I think it's Unfold and find a little template.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what
Oh, amazing. I haven't used Unfold in a minute, but I still love Visco. I still use Visco for sure.
I used it the other day.
Love it. I also love you're the second photographer today that talked about apps instead of the like Adobe, the Capture One. I think it's so important to remember like all of the tools that are available to us. And I think sometimes as professional photographers, we think that we can't use things like Visco anymore because, oh, like that's just for Instagram or something like that.
Oh,
But they're
desktop.
tools.
Yeah. But normally with like straight editing, like, all right, I just got home, I need to dump these, I need to edit them. I do use Lightroom. Or if I'm on the go, I'll use Lightroom to maybe clean something up a little bit and then move on to Visco and then go over to Unfold.
Okay, tight. I love it. And I think it adds such a nice creative edge, like especially on your website. I love that you have blogs. So, for example, I think it was Mary J. Blige one also where you did just like the whole little rundown. And I love things like that and you get to see the full sweep. But then on
Mhm.
Instagram, you do something a little different and have like this edit on it. And then on the home page, it's like, here's just, the
Yeah.
solid clean image. Like you can have variety all within the same set of photos. And I think that's such a good thing to remember.
And with me, the blog is literally there for if I have to go through media and I get approved through Sneakshot and not an outlet that I'm working for. I'm like, well, let me give them a whole write-up of what I saw, how I captured it, and added the photos in there, and then to send it off to them to keep that rapport going on.
That's such a good idea. Also, so smart. I don't know that I would have thought to do that. I would have felt, I don't know, maybe like this is like something extra. I guess they didn't ask me for that, but I think it's a testament to your love of the music and the love of the photography too.
Mhm.
Yeah. So can we talk a little bit more about some of those long-term collaborations? So we mentioned wrestling at the top. This is music focused, so we're not going to go in a long tangent. Don't worry, everybody. But I do just want to mention because it is a full production show. Like
It's a
we have,
show.
right, and we have something similar where like we have openers, we have the main event, we have
Yeah,
the superstar.
and now they're incorporating more artists, music artists, into the shows. So you had Travis Scott with WrestleMania, and then he did the whole song, the theme song was like their theme song for the whole year. And then now they had like Sexy Red on one of the other brands. I think it was like innate. And then like Cardi B is hosting SummerSlam this year. So they're bringing it's an interesting fold that they're now doing. On
I
top,
I didn't even see the Sexy Red collab or the Cardi collab. But what I think is so beautiful is that I I started watching wrestling consistently during the Attitude Era. And during that era, we got these really incredible what do you call it? Like just the songs they come out to?
yeah, their theme
Like
songs,
theme songs,
their
right?
walkout. Yeah.
Right, the theme songs, the walkout songs. And as I deeply love music, I have a ginormous CD collection. So it was always great to me when I saw the artists come out to perform the songs. And it was only like special events, usually, or like some kind of press run or something like that. But I'm like, oh, what a great collaboration for these two worlds. And to see how the music industry has collaborated with wrestling further to now we have these partnerships. Also, like how Bad Bunny was
Yep.
a wrestler that one day, things like that, where I'm like, look at what music can do. And the fact that you are capturing that also now in real time, I think is absolutely fascinating.
And then there's thank you. I do too. Sometimes when I'm not
Absolutely.
being angry at whatever's going on. Like my favorite wrestler's not winning right now. But with that being said, let's see. I think CM Punk is a good one because his theme song or intro song is Living Color. They're a black rock punk band. Cult of Personality is the song he's used basically throughout his entire career. He still uses it to this day. And even during WrestleMania last year, because I went WrestleMania
I
last
tried to go. Oh my God, that's amazing.
need to go next year. It's gonna be at the same place. Back
Okay.
in but CM Punk actually brought out Living Color to perform his intro song as he was entering the ring. And
Wow.
most people, like some people know the group or may know the song, but not the group. I feel like it put them on another platform. So it's all relatable in a weird way.
Yeah. That's so incredible. So back to like the long-term collaboration part of it. I feel like you've been shooting wrestlers pretty consistently. Do you have some potential conversations, potential collaborations that might be coming up, and who are artists that you would love to build those connections with?
Well, in the wrestling realm, there's a couple of people um that I would like to build a relationship with, but once they hit that WWE platform, it's really hard to link up with them because they already have a ready built team. So it's like playing Tetris with the moving pieces.
Mm-hmm.
On the indie scale with some of the wrestlers, it's easier to catch them before they get into that arena. So there's one I'm interested in working with that may actually happen. I can't say who, but it's someone that's heading to that next step. But
Ooh, I can't wait to see because I already know it's yours.
thank you. I'm
Absolutely.
it's mine. But
So
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna ask in terms of becoming a consistent photographer for music artists, then do you have any experience in that and how people can build those types of relationships?
I feel like I've had a couple, like I have a couple of people that are look out for me and like, hey, well, I'll use this one again. So Wale does Wale Mania or was doing Wale Mania. He did it for like 10 years. And
Hmm.
I would reach out to his management, like, hey, I want to come photograph this because it's really cool. And again, merging that merge again.
Yeah.
So, usually they'll look out for me like, all right, cool, here you go. We know your work. They don't ask me to like, hey, turn this in, do this. Like they know my love for it. And they appreciate me and I appreciate them for allowing me to even be in that space.
Yeah.
So long-term collaborations, I just try to let my photos speak for themselves because there are so many talented photographers out here.
Truly.
And there's space for everybody, honestly. Everybody has their something. Some you may find to be a little more, your speed, less not your speed, but there's always something for everybody. So
Yeah.
I'm probably going on a tangent because my brain has gone back to wrestling. Wrestling.
I know. We need another summit just for wrestling so me and Victoria can come back and just talk about that the whole time.
That
Okay. Okay, but still, thinking about the mental and logistical load of preparing for a show, or especially, I know you mentioned off call that you've gone on like a couple dates for artists on tour or something like that. Can you tell folks how you prepare for something like that? Is it the same way that you would prepare for any other date, or do you try to like
it
pack
is. It is. I am an overpacker, gear and luggage. So for me to not do that, I usually take about, let me be honest here, about maybe two, if I plan it right, 2 days to just grab a notepad and write down everything I need to take with me or that
Mm,
I'm taking with me. Like, all right, and that goes from gear to clothing to shoes because I will be gone for what, 4 days, and you swore I was gone for like 3 weeks. And that
mm,
puts a lot of strain on because you're like, I didn't even need to do all this. So for me, I just write a list. List,
okay.
list are my jam. So
Do you have, when you're flying with your gear, do you like to keep your gear in a carry-on or do you have a suitcase that you check?
no, no, it stays with me.
Okay,
Carry
got it.
bag stays with me. I will check anything else, but that stays with me. I don't trust these airlines.
I know, I'm the same way. When it's like a large uh gear thing, I don't know. I just try my best to pack everything in a book bag because I don't trust them. And I know there's plenty of cases that are heavy duty, plenty of photographers do it all the time, but ooh.
I don't trust it. I'm sorry.
What I'm also thinking about though on tours is, you're shooting the same thing every night. Or even another way to think about it is even if you just shoot concerts all the time, in some ways it is very similar. Like, we know that the first three are going to go a certain way typically, and then all the way at the end, there's going to be a big moment. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all know a process, but how do you maintain creativity through feeling like, I guess, routine?
Well, the thing is, some people don't do that. Some people do change it up. Um, and that's even with if you're going to shoot just a regular show. Like
Yeah.
you may have done like 2 nights in one city, but something will be different.
Hmm.
And then it's kind of like just being on the fly, being open to adapt. And even with if you know you're going to get the other thing is if you know you're going to get something that was done the previous night, maybe you messed that one up a little bit, or maybe you didn't get it at an angle that you wanted, so you're going to try another angle. Or if you got it at an angle that you're like, I'm happy with this. This is what I want. That other night you can kind of play with a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can get a little more creative. You can still get your standard. They want this. This is what they want. Client wants this shot. Do that, but then play around with it a little bit. Like I like to play around with multiple exposures. Those are
Mm.
really fun. After I, get what I need, and this is in almost any show. After I get what I need, I'm like, all right, this is great. Let me play with like these multiple exposures a little bit while they're movement, or play with movement.
Nice. I do love that. Thinking about those settings again, are you the type to pre-plan settings within your camera, or are you just moving on the fly?
On the fly.
Okay, cool.
Because I feel like if you, for me, pre-planning, I did it once before and I got bored. So
Mm.
I think the oddball in me kind of likes being able to change settings like on the fly.
I
But
should have been asking everybody this, but what mode do you shoot in? Like aperture priority, manual, auto?
manual.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
ooh, no. Dreaded A word. No,
Right?
manual is what I stay in for the most part because that's what I know.
Yeah.
Like aperture priority is cool, but I feel like, yeah, this is great, but lighting changes so much.
Yeah.
So doing for me, doing it on the fly is just what I know.
Yeah. Speaking of that lighting changing, everybody always asks about low light, so I tried to ask as many photographers this weekend about it just to see how many different options we can have. So when you're navigating low light, what are some preferred lenses or maybe things you like to keep in mind to make sure you're still getting clear exposed shots?
Well, sometimes going down to a 1.2 or 1.8 will work, but then it'll be a prime. And I kind of like zoom because I can do more instead of like trying to change things. But if I know the venue and I know what I'm getting, then I'll just stay like, all right, I'm going to do a 50 or I'll do an 85, something like that to get the low light. But I've also normally use the 24 to 70 because more low light happens in those smaller, dark indie venues.
Hmm. Yeah, usually larger artists are playing around with much larger lighting kits. But I am also thinking about, depending on the artist, they have, or also the tour, like the album that came out, maybe it's really moody, so they might have some dramatic lighting situations going on. So I think it's really important to know just how other people are navigating like low light situations.
Or like who had low light at something? Yeet. Yeet had low weird lighting. Ken Carson had weird lighting. I would say it was not weird, it was a little more grimy and moody.
Hmm.
And then there was another guy named Two Hollis, and his was a mix between almost no light and then random bursts of light. And I was like, okay, this is about to give me about to have an epileptic fit here.
Right? Like,
He went from two extremes. So sometimes I'm not even gonna front when it's like that. I spray and pray. I'm like, I know I
okay. Put that thing on that high sync shutter and let it go. One of these are going to come out okay.
I'm like, out of the maybe 75 I got, I'm like, I probably got a good 15.
Do you have any particular editing style when you know like it's a low light event? Like, is there certain adjustments you rely on?
No, actually, I kind of feel it. So
Okay.
what I like to do is I like to prepare if I can. If I don't know the artist, I like to listen to them, or I'll listen to them while I edit.
Ooh, I like that. I also like to listen to an artist. If I'm going to work with an artist, I like to listen to them to get the feel. It just seems right. It's like I need to know who you are.
Because other than that, you can't go in there like, oh, well, okay, I'm gonna give you the Mary J. Blige treatment, and really, you're only giving me Kodak Black. It's
Like, what's
two
the vibe for real?
two different vibes here, but I feel like the more you know, the better it is for you when you go there. So
Yeah.
sometimes I even like watching if they're on or the artist is on tour and I'm just doing like a stop in a city, I'll watch or find video clips so I know what their lighting looks like, or I know if they're hold the mic in the left or the right hand, or if they do it in both. I kind of know where to position myself sometimes,
Yes, yes, yes.
but sometimes I forget and I'll be like, oh, wait. Well, that makes it fun too.
Yeah, that's such a good note. I don't think anybody has mentioned that before. Folks have talked about like how it's important to document different parts of the show because for things like a stylist or the set designer, like making sure everybody has something that's a part of the coverage. But noticing how they typically hold the mic, I think is so important. when we're ideating the type of shot we want. That's such a nice thing. Like I really appreciate that tip.
Because, as a photographer, you don't want a whole bunch of this.
Right. Like all of it's just covering their whole face.
And plus, if you see what they did before, you can kind of time where they put the mic down, so you know when to go.
It seems like so much about music photography, live photography is about timing. So I'm wondering, like how we talked about earlier, like how do you navigate when they're placing you in the pit and there's a million other photographers, when they're placing you by that soundboard and you're like, dang, I gotta put on the 500 or the 600 lens. Like what kind of things are you doing to navigate those scenarios?
Well, with the soundboard shoots, you already know for the most part everybody's going to have something similar. So then
Mhm.
that's where your creativity comes in post. Like, how can you make it different from what those other five photographers are having? Um, when I'm in the pit, it's kind of like, okay, there's 13 of us in here. I may start off in the middle, but I wander. Like sometimes I'll stay, but for the most part, I like to end up in the corners,
Mhm.
try something different from that angle. Like again, play around with it. You might see something that you like, I think I'm gonna do that. But when you're actually in the moment, you're like, I see this over here. Let me go over here. Let me do this. And most people either stay in the middle. They don't,
Mhm.
they don't move,
I
which is
think that,
awesome.
yeah. I also noticed just about how you talked about the street team and I think also just the community feel of a place like DC. I've only been twice, but everyone I've met who's either from DC or has lived there is like DC is very much like connected. Y'all love to like rely on each other. Y'all know each other. It's a very tight-knit community, which is something that I love. So can you talk a little bit about building relationships with the people around you that's also, you end up working for, whether it's a local show or a festival?
Well, most people don't realize that DC is literally a small town. To have two big states connected to it, Maryland,
Mhm.
Virginia. But DC is so small that it's in the creative community, everybody's going to know everybody.
Mm,
Good, be it bad. People know people. But for me, it's all about building relationships, not so much, I feel like, with the artist per se, but I
mhm,
feel like management is a better place to start because the artist always going to want some pictures of themselves, regardless. But the management can give you more of a structure. And the management, you may ask me, hey, I see you come to town. Hey, put me on your list. Let me come through. Well, come through and take some pictures. And you get there and they forgot. But the
exactly.
management can forget too, but you'll have a better time or a better not time, a better outcome, I feel like, if you deal with management because they're always on a schedule. They're always on something. And they're
Yeah.
getting hold to instead of the artist. Unless that artist and you grew up with them or you guys hang out or you have that type of rapport.
Right. That, of course, that makes a lot of sense. Also wondering, how can people find access to management? Like, where are you searching for them? Is this in person, online, email?
Well, see, for me, I hate to say, see, for me, it's different. It's a little different. I've been in this for a long time.
Yeah.
So I even search things out. Sometimes I'll go, if it's an artist I've never photographed before and I don't have any immediate connection,
Right.
I'll look at their social media or I'll go over to maybe their Facebook because it may have a listing for PR or press. So, or there is there is a website that you can buy into to find out all that stuff. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it exists. And it's most of the stuff is usually updated. So it might have some old PR person. You're like, oh no, try this one. So
Yeah, I do remember hearing about a list like that. I feel like it kind of went viral on Twitter a couple years ago or something.
probably I stay off of Twitter.
Yeah, now I haven't been on Twitter in years.
Yeah, I still have it. Still, yeah, that's social media.
Same. I'm not going to delete it because I want my archive, but
Just send you the archive. You can download it. It may take a few days, but you can do it.
I know I'm not even going to get into it, but I don't know the password anymore. So
Understand.
I gotta keep this app. But speaking of apps, are there other platforms you have been using or interested in using to promote your work, like Behance or Blue Sky, like anything new?
part of me doesn't want, I was going through social media burnout, and
Hmm.
I was like, less is more right now. Instagram was like, I was like, this is a visual. I can do this. And then Visco has one, but I haven't delved into it. But I dabbled early on, but I was like, I've been thinking about going back. So I'm about the visual ones. Behance, I was like, I tried it. I didn't really like it. And Blue Sky, I'm like, that's like Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm on it. I know I'm on it because I know I signed up, but I'm not active on it yet.
Yeah.
I will be eventually.
I'm very curious about the ways in which, you know, our online presence is changing. I feel like in the past few years, it's the cycle of apps are happening faster. Like previously, like MySpace, Twitter, we had those for years and years before the next one became super popular. But now things are happening more rapidly. So I'm always wondering, like, where's the next place photographers will migrate to find each other, to find more gigs, to just promote our work.
Uh, a lot of people I know have migrated to Threads.
Oh, and I still haven't gotten threads yet. I don't know. I've seen a lot of photographers on threads.
Yeah, it's kind of, I feel like most of it's kind of redundant actually, because you have some people, some followers or fans or admirers of your work are at a certain age that they don't even mess with what we're messing with. They're like, we on Facebook. And it's kind of like, oh.
Yeah,
So you just have to remember, if you're doing Instagram, just set it so it can just automatically go to Facebook. And then
hey,
with you can do it to automatically go to Threads, and it's two different platforms. You're going to get two different vibes. Well, three actually, if you include Instagram. But at the same time, you're also just sharing the exact same thing.
mm-hmm.
So if you have a person that's on all three, they're like, well, I've just seen this on all three. So I like to mix it up. I mean, not put one on the other, to put something else on the other one, just so there's some sort of variety. Because the attention spans now are like that.
Yeah, it's super different now. Also, I want to pivot over to the chat. We have a question from Sancha that says, can you talk to us? They have a couple questions, so I'll break it up. Can you talk to us about the ways to get your work exhibited?
That's just talking with people. For me, I've done a few photo exhibitions. I actually have one coming up in DC in September. Um,
Ooh, yes.
it's a non-traditional one. It's at a clothing store, lifestyle store called Commonwealth.
Oh,
So
nice. Okay.
we're gonna do something, flip the store a little bit, make it kind of fun. I just had one, what was that? A couple of months ago at a smaller art gallery. So I would say look at smaller galleries or like community spaces that also double as art galleries. And just, if don't you have to do anything big, small. And then invite people out and build that way. So I think that's a good way to do it. Or do something non-traditional, not an art gallery, small store. Heck, at this point, go find a dispensary.
For real. You'll never even know now.
Right.
Also,
Anything space.
exactly. I just want to say, you should definitely send us that flyer. So come September, we can make sure to help you promote and post it so people can pop up. Okay, next part of the question from Sancha is, how about selling your work? Do you ever have any difficulty with that? Because as artists not wanting you to sell their images.
So
Oh, I
my
see what you're saying.
how do I sell it knowing that artists don't want you to really sell them?
Yeah.
So here's my thing. If I signed a release form for it, I am not going to print it. I'm not going to print it. I'm not going to sell it. It's probably in there anyway. I don't really have, not the time. I really don't want to reach out to you and like, hey, I want to do this, that, and the third. And then it takes 5,000 years and it's already past the time. And you're like, oh, yeah, you can do it. I just rather not. So stuff that I kind of shoot on my own, or I was invited or whatever, I will do that.
Yeah.
And
Also,
I have a shop on my website that has one Grace Jones picture that was a collaboration between me and someone else. And I need to get better with that. Like actually, I only sell stuff either if someone asks me, like, oh my God, I saw that print. Is it available?
hmm,
Or at the exhibits. Other than that, it's kind of like, girl, get your shop together.
right. So
I,
I think it's also a good differentiation to make. where it's like, one, did you sign a release form for it? Then, look at those terms, like Victoria said, decide whether or not it's worth it to you to like want to proceed in trying to sell it for yourself. But otherwise, if you didn't like completely give over your rights to an image, the image is legally yours.
It,
So whether you shot it yesterday or 3 years ago, you can print it as many times as you want to.
also, if you shot something a long time ago and you did do a waiver and there's look in it, because it might be like, oh, for 5 years, or this ends in 10 years. This statute of limitations is like only for 10 years.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. I think back to exhibiting a little bit. Can you just talk to us about for music photography specifically, is there a certain way you try to curate your images when you're exhibiting? Is there themes you like to follow or themes you're attracted to? Or even the gallery spaces you're finding, are you looking for people that are specifically looking for music artists or music photography?
No, because I sometimes feel like some of my work is it while it is in the music arena, it's captured more like art, if that makes sense.
Mm,
Um, I mean it is art, but more of a fine art, less of an event.
mhm,
So like that one of Mary with her arms extended. I feel like that's less concert-y, more, fine art-y, if that makes sense. But no, I try to work with people that want to work with me.
there you go. I'm curious because I don't know that anyone else has framed it that way, but I'm wondering if while you're shooting, do you ever look for fine art moments? Or are you just like during the editing process, you're like, ooh, this feels different.
It's a little bit of both, depending on who the artist is. So
Okay.
like, can you go back to the Instagram? I can show you an example if we have a little time.
Yeah.
So let's see. Which one? I'll make sure it's something kind of recent. Okay. Go. Oh no. Go down, down, right there.
This
Her.
one?
Yeah. Let's see if there's something in here. So keep going. Yeah, she has a mic. Okay.
Ooh. Nice job.
Uh, this might not be the one. Let's see. Like this, even though she still has a mic, it's still a moment that's a little more, I feel like, artsy. Uh,
Hmm.
but this wasn't the one. I thought it was the one. That her name is Yazara. She's dope.
Yeah.
Black singer from the DMV, sang with Lenny Kravitz. She's a little powerhouse on her own. Go to the one right above her. I think it says Kate, please.
I
The that one. All right. So like stuff like that. I'm
Ooh.
like, and that's Miguel. Um, did I didn't put it in there, did I? Nope, I didn't put it in there. Okay. So there's one that I captured of him. It's raining. You can't tell in any of these shots, but it's actually raining. And
Mm.
he's on his knees, and I have like a really close up of him. And you see part of the show, but that's none of what you're looking at. So moments like this, or like a hand, or some jewelry, or some accessory that they have on, or maybe just a shadow of their face. Like I try to find moments like that.
I like that. Also, these shots are so incredible and truly made me feel something. So thank you for that. I think that's really cool. I don't know that necessarily. I don't do a lot of live shoots, but when I have done them, I wasn't thinking about fine art images. So I love just hearing the perspective of being like, yeah, while I'm there, like, let's
Yeah.
see what I can do. Beautiful. So I want to get into the like challenges of being a live music photographer. Can you talk a little bit about maybe your biggest professional learning moment from working in this music industry?
Okay. I'll try to be nice. You know what? Old white men sometimes suck. Oh,
Hey.
I'm sorry. like to mansplain to you, and they look at you, especially as a woman, even a woman, red woman, black woman, they're very critical. Like, oh, why is she in here? And people don't see it. Like, wow, there's a plethora of black women photographers, women photographers. They're also still old gatekeepers that look at you like, why are you here? And it's like, I deserve to be here just as much as you deserve to be here. I know
Yeah.
who you are. I know some of them. I'm like, I know who you are. I know what you've done. I've seen your body of work. That's
Yeah.
dope. That's great. You're not going to be here forever. Your work will. You won't.
Right.
So the hardest thing for me starting off was rude photographers, rude men, old, young photographers. They're like, oh, I'm gonna get the shot. I'm gonna get in your way. Pit etiquette is a big thing for me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, we can all work together to get what we need. You don't have to keep throwing up Hail Marys every 3 seconds and getting him a shot. I'm being respectful to you, and I deserve that respect being showed to me and to
Mm.
everyone for the
Yeah.
short time that we are here. But that's one challenge. The other ones sometimes are lack of communication are between management, PR artists, PR or artists. They'll tell you, yeah, you all good. And then when that day comes, you're not good. Oh, I'm sorry. So that it's like they used you to market something for them because you're gonna be helpful on social media. It's like, well, that person got a show coming. Let me put it to my community. And then
Right.
get that. It's like, oh no, I'm sorry, we can't do that. But I'm
Mm.
like, okay. So I take everybody at face value for the most part, unless I have a working relationship with you already.
Yeah.
It's a lot about trust and not being played. Because somebody gonna play in your face every day. And at them, they're gonna tell other people, oh yo, you can get over on that. So it's just about, for me, it's keeping calm and not not trying to take everything personally. I'm like,
Mm.
what? This dude may had a bad day. It ain't my fault you had a bad day, but here we are.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful to allow those people like some grace because you're right. Like maybe it's not the fact that you're being weird or racist, but maybe you're just having a bad day and that's coming out in a way that it shouldn't. But what I have noticed is, I mean, I know plenty of men photographers or male photographers, and I only hear women talk about that silent code of ethics in the pit or as we're moving around on any type of set, on like just literally being kind and respectful. And I think it's incredible to just see that disparity where it's
Mhm.
like we are the people who are thinking about being considerate because we all can get the shot. There's clearly enough money for all of us to be here because we're all here. So we can all get the shot, babes. Like we don't have to be throwing bows in the pit to do it.
And sometimes when when you're shooting for the tour, a couple of times what I like to do is, if it's a multi-city, jump in the pit, the first three. If you want some of that, cool. But you, as a tour photographer, are going to get way more than these people that are in this pit for 3 songs. Yes, they
Yeah.
can from the house after sometimes, but you're still getting way more. So if at all possible, I like to say, all right, I'm gonna jump in after song three. I'll come in around four.
Nice. Also, just thinking about how when you have the flexibility, how you can move around and make different decisions. I think that also speaks to the discernment you were talking about where it's like thinking about, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't like try to collaborate with this person or this team anymore. Or you know what? I know for this artist, the pit is hectic. I'm looking from afar already. A lot is going on. Since I do have special privileges with my media pass, let me do something because I know after the first three, they're gonna be gone. It's gonna clear out a little bit, and then I can do my thing. And also, nobody else is shooting those songs. So you will likely get a variety in movement and stage play and things like that anyway. I love
Mhm.
that.
Yep.
I think we're winding down on time, but I would love to leave with still maybe at least one more addition. I know we talked a little bit about like challenges. So maybe can we talk a little bit about like one of your greatest moments, like where you felt like the photography you did in that day was like it opened up a world to you, it did something great for your career or something like that.
Um, geez, that's a good one. You got me stuck. It's like trying to roll through a Rolodex of a bunch of stuff.
Come on.
Uh,
I
I
like
would,
that. Like maybe there's options. Okay.
well, okay. I would say, what was it for me? Maybe some 9 Inch Nail stuff I got hired for, like 9 Inch Nails. They were coming to the venue. They needed a photographer for the whole thing. They chose me, selected, and I'm a big 9 Inch Nails fan. I love them. So like I listen to everything. Um, so being able to capture them the way I always wanted to was actually really cool. And it was a little challenging because I don't know, you're familiar? You're familiar with them?
Yeah.
So dark,
Yeah.
flashlight, smoke, harsh strobes. And the other thing was black and white. I had to do it all in black and white.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure of myself if I could do it. Like I said, in my brain, I was like, oh, if I ever get to photograph them, I know what I want to do. And I actually got a chance to do some of that.
That's
So
cool. That almost sounds like well, it's obviously dream work since it was one on your list of people that you really wanted to do. But it also sounds a little bit like inner child work, where it's like I got to appease like this part of my heart, not only in like my creative expression by photographing them, but I love this band.
and that another one on non-rock was I love Jodeci. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a big Jodeci fan. I love Jodeci. And when I was growing up, didn't get a chance to photograph them. Wanted to, but I wasn't even really shooting at that time. But since they've come back out, I make it my duty to photograph them every single time. And one time I did it, they used my photo on the site and did like discussion. So my inner child was like,
Yes.
I like for me, personal moments are great. If other people can find joy in them as well, awesome. But for the older artists, I feel like they need exposure as well. So that's where all my love and that's where I feel fulfilled. So
That's incredible. Also, okay, we're winding down, but I just want to highlight this one shot. I peeped it when we first went through your website, but it is just so good. This one. What a perfect shot. Oh my God. I love it. The stage play with this light right here is just perfect timing. I'm like, ooh, this is the show. This is what I want to see when I'm at a music show and when I'm looking at music photography. So I just wanted to highlight you and say, wow, amazing work.
here's a bucket list. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is he gave us one song.
Ooh, I bet that pit was crazy though. There had to be a lot of people and also a lot of guys.
All guys. It was I think four four of us. There's only four, he only approved four of us. And I was the only girl. One
Wow.
I was one the single lady and also the single black.
Right, of course.
Just
But
me.
oh my gosh, Victoria, thank you so, so much. This has been a treat. I'm so, so grateful to have you here with us today.
Thanks for taking the time and letting me ramble on a little bit.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time. Like she said at the top, y'all, she's literally on a gig right now and took the time to sit with us for an hour and drop some gems. So truly, we are so grateful to have you. And just to close out, we want to say thank you again to Live Nation Urban. Like we keep telling y'all, they've been having this partnership with us for 3 years, and we're just so excited to keep continuing. We still have more guests on the way for today, so don't go too far away. Come back to your computer, your phone, because we'll be back with the next guest soon. But before we leave, you ready to take that selfie?
Yep.
Yay!
Wait, oh. Just like photographers, sometimes
Hey,
breathe.
hey. Beautiful. Thank you, Victoria. We'll see y'all soon.
Bye.